start. So hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for coming. Maybe for the good start, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and the kind traveler, so we can get to know you a little bit better.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Anula. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and travel. A little bit about me. I'm Jessica Blotter. I'm CEO and co-founder of Kind Traveler. I'm also a journalist and speaker on sustainable tourism and serve on the board of the Center for Responsible Travel in Washington, D.C., also known as CREST. And, I started my career as an earth science teacher where I got my master's in education. I later went on and spent 10 years working in publishing. And it's really during that period, I was working with startups and found another passion, which is entrepreneurship. So everything kind of came together on a vacation in Belize with my co-founder and I. We were there to see the Mayan ruins and go caving and do the things you think of when you go to a place like Belize. But instead, we witnessed a lot of poverty. We saw a lot of families living in shacks next to polluted swamps and a lot of emaciated dogs roaming the streets. And we really had a hard time just separating turning a blind eye to what we saw. So we had an experience where we decided to feed the dogs, being animal rescue volunteers in the United States. And it was really that feeling that stayed up with us for a really long time. And we started to think how we could use our passion for sustainability and entrepreneurship to create a platform that would make it easy for travelers to meaningfully give back to the communities that they love and that they visit. And so the journey for Kind Traveler began, and we launched in 2016.
Super cool. So how it's been since 2016? What's the journey that you've went through?
Yeah, so when we launched, we launched as the first socially conscious give and get hotel booking and media platform that would empower travelers to positively impact the communities that they visit. And we do that through a simple give and get booking model where travelers will give a $10 nightly donation to a locally vetted charity that positively impacts the community that they're visiting. And then in exchange for their act of kindness, they are rewarded with exclusive hotel rates and perks from Kind Hotels. And really through that model, 100% of donations go to charity, which creates a triple win amongst the traveler, the charity, and the hotel. So since we've been building, we have about 140 hotels on the platform, many of which are going to be live in about the next 30 days because we're launching website 2.0, which I'm super excited about. And we have about 70 charities on the platform in 22 countries. And all of our impact goals are aligned with the United Nations Global Goals for Sustainable Development. So that's kind of where we are today, and super excited to be launching a new and improved website that will make the user experience much more enhanced. So I'm really looking forward to that.
This is really amazing and a beautiful business model. And if you say that you started in 2016, so have you seen any changes in terms of how your business model, your business is being perceived? Have you seen any changes in demand or behavioral changes among travelers that also impacted your business?
Yeah, of course. I mean, when we launched, sustainable tourism still very much felt like a niche industry within the travel sector. It was right around the same time where Impact Travel Alliance launched in New York just a year prior to Kind Traveler. But since then, the momentum and the need for sustainable tourism has become widely popular. And COVID has actually created a shift and a heightened awareness in a much bigger way for sustainable travel. So it is a very different landscape from 2016. And I'm just so excited where, I feel that the market has finally risen to meet us where we're at. where back in 2016, we were doing so much educating just on the basic principles of sustainable travel. So the industry is definitely is accelerating towards that, and it's just exciting to see so much more interest and enthusiasm around impact travel specifically and sustainable tourism as a whole.
And if we go a little bit deeper in terms of what features or what value of your business the customers value the most, and do you see any patterns in terms of that they are going more of the because it's just easier for them to create more impact, or they really appreciate the pre-selection of projects, or you see that they are really into some social projects? If what do customers want?
Yeah, I mean, so Kind Traveler has two customers. We're a B2B to C business. So we have our hotel, and we also work with tourism boards, and then we have our consumer, our traveler. So on the hotel side, hotels are often already working with charities in some way. Perhaps they're hosting an event or a fundraiser, or perhaps their employees are volunteering at a local charity, or perhaps they our guests to give back by adding an optional donation at the time of checkout. But what Kind Traveler has done for our hotels is created a sustainable way to highlight a meaningful charity that's in their neighborhood and make it traveler facing, not just at the time of checkout, but at the beginning of the trip when the traveler is planning. And the psychological shift that happens for the traveler, knowing that their travel dollars are supporting a meaningful cause, is very, very different than at the end of an experience where you might check off a box and donate $1 or whatever. We're giving travelers a chance to learn about the exact impact they're going to make. If there's a way for them to get involved beyond the donation, we'll also list that as well. So it's completely shifted the conversation for hotels and travelers. And, on the B2C side, when we're looking at the consumer side, really, travelers have this longing. I mean, the research has been consistent throughout the years, where about 70% of travelers have this need to give back or know how their travel dollars are affecting the local community and hopefully supporting that community. However, there remains a lot of confusion in the space. A third find it difficult, half don't know how. There's a lot of confusion around traveling sustainably. And it really goes beyond carbon offsetting or reducing your carbon footprint, eliminating your plastic waste. It goes beyond that to how your travel dollars are impacting the local community. So we're hoping to bridge that gap, meaningful experience for both travelers and hotels and charities.
Cool. And I mean, that's very interesting in that, especially what you're saying about hotels, to have like a more complex approach. But who are your individual customers? Because from what I see, customers, they like convenience, so they would go for marketplaces, I don't know, like Agoda, Booking.com, Expedia, because it's easier, and then they have a big choice of a hotel. So I would assume that your customer is more of the green and socially aware person.
Well, of course, that customer is going to be more tuned into Kind Traveler, but there's a lot of research around 3 customer demographics that have shown the most interest in the intersection of travel, philanthropy, and sustainability. And those 3 customer segments are largely millennials, family travelers, and affluent travelers. And there's different reasons for each customer segment. So when we look at millennials, we think of them as a generous generation. They grew up with a different, experience overall with social media, with, environmental impacts becoming much more into the forefront of their daily news. Family travelers see giving back as a learning opportunity for their children, and affluent travelers place social responsibility as a premium, as a luxury. And so those 3 demographics certainly share the most interest, and those are the ones that we're targeting on our platform.
Very cool. I'm going to ask you some more questions about marketing a bit later. Um, but I also saw on your website that you have some, you can be do more social impact in a day or something like this, and it says that it's gonna come soon. Is it some new feature? Does it mean that customers want more engagement beyond just donating money?
Yeah, so there's a section when you donate money where you can really educate yourself about the charity. So we tell you, not only the exact impact a $10 donation will make, which by the way, $10 goes a really long way. As a quick example, $10 can help clean up 250 pounds of trash out of a local waterway with an environmental group. With a food bank, $10 can provide up to 40 nutritional meals to in need families. So $10 might not sound a lot, but the impact that it can create is extremely measurable and interesting. And so when you're looking at these local charities, we'll tell you, why is this charity important to the community that you're visiting, and how are they doing the work that they're doing, so that you're making an informed decision. But then also we will tell you ways to get involved beyond the donation. And so we love partnering with organizations that also have a traveler facing experience. For example, you might be able to sign up for a beach cleanup or a river cleanup in the local community. Or perhaps you sign up to volunteer at a food bank for a day. Or maybe you go on a hike with a docent and learn about wildlife or bird watching in the local community that you're in. So there's lots of ways to get the traveler involved, and we certainly look forward to bringing that more to the forefront of our actions, because travelers are always very interested about this part of it. But I do want to note that because we do have 70 charities on the platform, while we always highlight that local partner, we do give the traveler the choice to donate to any of the organizations. And they are broken down by 10 causes that are aligned with the UN Global Goals. So the traveler ultimately does have that choice, because we believe that creating an emotional connection is so important to giving.
So how do you actually approve the charities? First of all, those that are your regular partners, and then if a customer wants to donate to something else, what are your criteria, and yeah, how do you work with charities?
Sure. Yeah. So the customer can only donate to the charities on our platform. So we don't allow for we don't have outside giving to charities that are not vetted and aligned. They are selected based off of what is called a community-based decision. So like I said before, the hotel oftentimes already has a relationship with a charity. That relationship is in place. They know what's best for their community. But we make sure that that charity is addressing at least one of the UN. Ideally, they have a good online presence, because if travelers want to go and research that charity a little bit more, having a presence on social media is really important. And then, of course, they must be a registered charity in the host destination that we are targeting. We look for top performing charities, but truthfully, some of the smaller charities aren't necessarily always on GuideStar or Charity Navigator. So it can get a little tricky, but we don't want to eliminate a smaller charity just because they're not on a larger, present on a larger platform. So those are some of the things that we look at when aligning our nonprofit partners. And really always looking through the lens of sustainable tourism, and what is going to better the health and well-being of the host destination as it relates to not just the visitor experience, but the residents, the local economy, and ultimately, preserving the health and well-being of the destination to create a sustainable future.
But your policy when choosing organizations, for example, let's say it's going to be one of the Asian countries, let's say you would be working with Thailand, for example, and then or Laos. We know that there is like a big plastic issue. They're having a problem. Would you look for an organization that is dealing with one of the most important issues of the destination, or if you believe that the organization is just doing really good job but in a theme that is not that big for a destination, then they would also work with them? What is your approach? Like, shall we be supporting those that are dealing with the major issues, or we can spread our support across different organizations?
Every destination has their own set of unique challenges. And certainly that is a very important element to look at when choosing a nonprofit partner, because we want it to have synergy and a connection to place, which is important for the traveler to leave a destination better than before one arrived. And so solving the greatest challenges, making sure I think the UN global goals also help you choose the world's greatest challenges and kind of keep you streamlined onto that. I also think that, Future of Tourism Coalition, which Kind Traveler is a signatory, looking at those principles are also very important in guiding any sort of giving back type of impact decision.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Have you had any issue with a charity that you realize that they are not doing the good job on, or some suspicious activity has been discovered by a customer of yours, maybe?
We haven't had anything like that, but we have had to say no to some nonprofit partners on the journey that just haven't aligned completely with our values. For example, if a hotel wants to choose a medical related charity, and they are using those dollars to fund animal testing and animal research, for example, we have a policy where we don't fund any charities that are involved in any type of animal testing or suffering of any type. So we've had to say no to some really big, amazing, big organizations that unfortunately, when you peel back the layers, aren't doing as much good as you want to believe. So we've also had to say no to brands that have wanted to partner with us, and even a tourism board that had practices that in the destination revolving animals and entertainment, where the animals were being treated with cruelty, but they were seeing it as a sport and entertainment, and so we had to politely decline.
This is really amazing. I mean, powerful to keep integrity, to keep your integrity even if they are approached by big brands and big players. So now the question about hotels. How do you select your hotels? Do you have any strict sustainability criteria or other no-goes for the accommodations?
Yeah, so our hotels are, all of them, they must have a sustainability policy. They also must choose a charity that is aligned with those principles that I just talked about. Now, in Website 2.0, we're launching a feature that will separate hotels that are going above and beyond with sustainability and that are sticking to a very much more stringent set of guidelines than the ones that simply have a sustainability policy. They're doing some really amazing things, but they could be doing more. And so we're looking to separate those players in our new website launch, which is something we're super excited about.
Okay, so if a hotel would like to work with you, what should they do?
They can always email us through the website at hello@kindtraveler.com. Will come to my inbox, and from there we can set up a meeting and learn more about the hotel and their ethics and their sustainability policy, and see if they're a match for Kind Traveler.
Okay.
And so so we would have like an exploratory conversation and identify if it's a good partnership to move forward on. But the best way is to just email us, and whether it's myself or one of our reps, we'll set up a call and get to know you a little bit more.
And do you use for, you said that more strict sustainability criteria, do you use any of the existing framework? Like, I don't know, hotels that are certified by the Global Sustainable Tourism Council recommended certification schemes, or you have your own list of criteria that you verify?
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at the sustainability criteria from a lot of different, you know, organizations. I think we've come up with our own set that is very much a blend of, you know, what some of the other big sustainability organizations, you know, the certification organizations have created. But we're not in the business of creating certification. So, you know, we're not a certification type of company. We are highlighting and profiling hotels that are committed to ideally three pillars, which is wellness, because we see a big link between hotels that are advancing individual wellness and sustainability. So wellness and sustainability and community impact are our core three themes that we look at for hotels, because they are all so deeply connected. And, you know, we believe with wellness that, you know, by encouraging wellness, and wellness is simple as, you know, creating environments that encourage healthy eating, healthy movement, as well as just, I mean, really sorry. So, I mean, I think that those are like the two main things we look at when we're looking at wellness, but there's a big link between when we enhance our own initiatives towards self-care, we are able to widen our circle of compassion, not only for ourselves, but for the environment. And it's hard to have a meaningful connection with the environment and nature when you haven't strengthened your own source of empathy and where your own compassion comes from. So we have to recognize wellness as a big part of the sustainability equation.
That means like accommodations with a soul, or like a higher purpose, right? Not only serving the rooms and cocktails.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but you're playing with money. I mean, the donations, and sometimes donations are, you know, perceived as like, ah, I don't know where my money is being used for, where is it going, who is taking it, and so on. So here you need to, I believe, be quite transparent, but on the other hand, there are some privacy issues, or some maybe, you know, more some projects that maybe not all the data should be shared with the public. How do you play between the privacy and the transparency? How much do you reveal? How do you actually track the financial part of what you're donating?
Yeah, of course. So for our charities to fundraise on their behalf, we must put contracts in place with every single organization to allow Kind Traveler to both fundraise and market on their behalf. And then what we do to keep things very, very clean is that Kind Traveler's revenue model is not based off of the donation side. So we make money through a travel agent commission that comes off of every booking. But with our give and get model, where you must give a $10 donation to unlock exclusive rates and perks that we've negotiated with every single hotel, we make that donation, 100% of it goes to the charity. So we even cover credit card processing fees or any transaction fees just to keep that super clean. Now, the hotel also gets notified about the donation. They know what donation, what organization the traveler donated to. But every 60 to 90 days, Kind Traveler distributes 100% of the funds to the charity. But the hotel is also aware of the exact donations that we have made because they're getting notified. So just to keep it clean though, like we have it as a complete separate 100% And that way, there's no confusion on what was fundraised or what was, given, because it's just simply not part of our revenue model. But we are a public benefit corporation, and public benefit corporations in the U.S. are to work with both charity and fundraising, as well as our for-profit model, which is with our hotel.
And how much do customers know about how their money was spent? Do you send them like a purely practical level? A customer goes to a hotel and then they chose a charity, and what happens next? Do you send them an email straight away? Do you send them a report half a year afterwards? Or what kind of information you share with the customers?
Well, like I said, on the transaction side, the traveler is going to get to choose the charity, but we're always going to highlight that locally vetted charity, because that is within the definition of sustainable tourism, is local impact. So that local partner will be there. You will see the exact impact that $10 donation will make, and that information comes directly from the charity. So we have an information collecting system where the charity tells us, what the impact is, how they're using their dollars, like how they do the work. And you'll see all of that on the Kind Traveler website as a guest checking out. But after that donation is collected, the traveler will get a donation receipt. So that receipt is not, it does not count towards like a tax write-off, because anytime you're giving and you receive something of equal or greater value, it does not qualify for a tax write-off. However, it is very important for us to thank our travelers for donating to the charity that they've donated to. So that's sort of how we keep it transparent in the transaction. And again, it's really up to the traveler how they want to spend their philanthropic dollars.
And you mentioned in the beginning that with these $10, you can clean that amount of kilograms of trash, or feed so many people and so on. So when you book and choose an organization, you already see how exactly your money is going to be spent, or you get this information afterwards, you straight away?
No, you see it at the time of booking. If you were to go to our hotel microsite and see the local charity, you just click on that.
Okay, this is very cool in terms of the transparency, and probably it increases already the trust of the customer about donating money. That is very important. And then a few questions about the actual marketing. This is very, very, I think, interesting topic for so many organizations that want to do good. They have this social profile, but they are very niche. So how to market yourself, how to sell yourself when you have these big, massive players around, and how to get customers and traction to pay your bills?
Yes, of course. So Kind Traveler, we started building our newsletter literally years before we launched to the public. So when we launched to the public, we had a list. It was only about 2,000 people at the time. But now, fast forward 5 years, almost 5 years, this August, we have just close to 200,000 subscribers on our newsletter. So our newsletter has become our largest driver to the website. But we're also looking at where our target audience is spending their time planning their trip. And the research really reveals, especially with millennial demographics, that they utilize Google search and social media, inspiration from social media to plan their trips. So it's very important for Kind Traveler to spend time investing in those platforms, largely also through utilizing PR and ambassadors. We do have a couple celebrity ambassadors as well that we've created, and living in Southern California, we hope to also tap more into celebrity ambassadors who share our same passion and causes. But spending time online through PR, content marketing, organic and paid social media all of that, which will help also grow our newsletter database and traffic to the website, is extremely important. But all businesses should look at, where their target audience is obviously spending the most time, because not everybody plans their trip using online sources, especially as you start to look at baby boomers and older demographics. They might be much more comfortable working with a travel agent, which is, a different model. So it really just depends, and obviously staying consistent and always, creating new opportunities for people to have impact travel experiences is a really important part of our storytelling. And every story is completely unique. So if you're going to the Maldives, you might be supporting manta ray conservation, which is important because that's where one of the largest populations of manta rays exist, which, are a threatened species. And so every destination, every hotel literally has its own unique story. And so that's, what I think is the part that really just excites me about the storytelling side, is that every story is unique and different. So if you can tap into that as a brand, then the storytelling becomes very easy because it's an endless resource of storytelling.
So your the main message that you're trying to communicate, is it mainly the impact that the customer can create, or what is your differentiating point?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're the only hotel booking platform that empowers travelers to make a local impact in the destination, a local positive impact. So it really is the inspiration around, what a $10 donation will do. And it's a $10 nightly donation. So if it's a longer trip, the impact is going to be much bigger. But being the only platform that does that, that's definitely our special sauce in communicating the type of impact that you can create, but also the fact that when you give back, it creates a psychological shift in your brain that makes you feel healthier, happier, and more connected. And that's really the perfect storm for the traveler that wants a purposeful trip. And so it's much more than just a positive impact. It's about how it makes you feel on an emotional level to create a connection to the place that you're visiting.
Where was there any specific marketing campaign, a blog post, a story, I don't know, activity of your brand ambassador that really created some viral marketing around you and the buzz that really worked well for you?
Yeah, definitely. One time we did an ambassador trip to the Marine Mammal Care Center in Los Angeles, and we stayed with its partnered hotel, which is called Terranea Resort. But we got to do a behind the scenes tour of the Marine Mammal Care Center and learn about why these sea lions and seals were ending up stranded on the coast. We got to learn about, see in first place the impacts of plastic and marine animals, the impacts of fishing line to these delicate creatures. But just to really connect with these animals and or mammals, I should say, and seeing that impact front and center, and then having our ambassadors communicate that story with their blogs and video and social media, and then later going back to the hotel that was empowering that impact and learning about all of their sustainability initiatives. So we went on a tour. They have their own sustainability director, and we got to go on a tour of the hotel and learn about all the things that they're doing. Like they have their own salt farm where they make their own sea salt, and they have all these different herb gardens and things that they do, where they even grow their own honey on the property. So I think being able, because we are an online digital platform, I've never felt such a stronger need to get out of the platform and go into real life, meeting real people and meeting real charities and meeting, just being and seeing the initiatives. Like that type of content is certainly what fills up my heart, but it also connects, our future audience to what we're really about and what we're really doing. And that's really important as an online platform, is to get out of the theory and the philosophy and into the real impact.
So cool, really, really cool. Um, okay, so more or less we went through the questions. I have one or two more related specifically to your work. First of all, like the whole brand is about the social impact and support. How about the principles within your own team and the office? What are some sustainability practices in your office that you're proud of, if you could share?
Yeah, of course. In regards to our team, I mean, with, whether it's our team or all of our partners, we have a set of core values. There's about 12 or 13 guiding principles that are on our website. And we ask all of our partners to sign off on these guiding principles, as well as any intern and any employee that we might work with. So those guiding principles just kind of acknowledge like what Kind Traveler is all about, and that you would have to be on board to acknowledging these sort of ethics and principles. But I think just on a personal level, we're all about, we believe that, well, we know that, plant-based living and dieting, eating less meat is really one of the biggest things that you can do to lower your carbon footprint. And so we really advocate for those types of lifestyles and everything that we do, just personally. From a personal standpoint, we're all about driving electric cars when we can, reducing our own carbon footprint, just living minimalistically, and certainly embody those. We encourage our team to go out and volunteer with charities, just to light up their own passion, so that you're connected with the reason that you're actually doing the work that we're doing. And we think that's a really important part of the journey for anybody that we work with, or anybody that is out there that wants to deepen their passion, perhaps, or even find their passion. Go out and volunteer, and maybe you start one place and end up at another. But it's really, I think, through those connections that you can find the thing that will light up your soul, which is really important in any impact journey. You have to be connected to that, or else you're not going to be the best version of yourself.
Nice. Oh my God, I love your approach. It seems that you have these values not as just only as a business, but everyone in your team. So that's why you can be authentic in everything that you're doing. Have you thought about getting certified with any third-party certification, a B Corp or any other sustainability certification?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we've started our application for B Corp certification. So we definitely hope to finish that this year.
It's a journey, right?
It's a journey, yeah, and especially turning 5, it's time to do that. We're also members of 1% for the Planet, so we also donate to the charities that are on the platform, not just through the Traveler, but also Kind Traveler. So we donate a few ways, not just through 1%, but through auctioning off any room night trades that we have. We'll actually donate to different charity auctions, and also fundraise for our partners that way, which is completely separate from, the give and get, which is like the Traveler facing model. So we do a lot of giving back. And then we're also proud supporters of Crest, through not just being a board member, but I had been supporting Crest for years before I even joined the board. So we're always just, we feel like we're an educational resource, and we're really committed to always distributing the latest research studies to our partners, so that first they may become informed about why sustainable tourism is so important for our future. If they don't understand the why, it's hard for them to take action. So we need to be an educational resource and continually strive to do that all of the time.
Awesome. This is great. And the last question I have, imagine I'm sure that there are many people listening to us and to you and thinking, I want to be like Jessica. I want to have a company like Kind Traveler. Maybe it's students who are thinking how to build their career, or a small startup that they're just thinking about creating something really, really big. And you've been talking about beautiful things that you're doing, but how it is in your daily life, how a regular day of a of a Kind Traveler manager, or even like maybe one of your employees look like, and what do you do in practice?
Yes, of course. I mean, that I guess there's like a lot of different ways to look at that question. But for anybody that's considering going into business and or starting a career or starting their own company, and there there's if there's any confusion at all around what you want to do, I always tell people just to go and start taking classes and volunteer, because the more that we can educate ourselves, the more that we can become in tune with what our passions are. And it's really important for anybody that wants to get into the impact space to not just align their purpose, but with the purpose has to be aligned with their passion and also with their skill set. And so when you look at a Venn diagram, if you would look at the center of those three things, that's really where you're going to come to life as an impact entrepreneur or an impact professional. So investing in education, investing in taking the time to really think about what your cause is, what is your purpose, and what what impact do you want to make? Because all of us are drawn to different causes. Someone might be more passionate about ocean conservation. Somebody might be about ways to reduce your carbon footprint or animal welfare as a cause. So we have to look at all of those things. So that's what my recommendation is for anybody trying to get into that. But as far as me personally and what I have to do to keep myself going every day and staying on point is, I have to invest a lot in my own wellness. I do yoga every single day just to like clear my mind and set a foundation. I think health is just so important. But before I even started Kind Travel, I spent a lot of time figuring out, just taking classes. If there was something I didn't know about, I went to UCLA Extension and I would take a class on it, from everything from social media marketing to philanthropy to just anything that I felt like I needed to become stronger in, even PR. And so education is a pathway, and we, living in an online world, we all have access to it. So you have to take those steps, and really there's no such thing as an overnight success. It takes a lot of time and dedication. So you better have your passion aligned, or else you won't feel like getting up every single day and fighting the good fight.
Yeah. Do you work a lot, or it's like
oh my gosh,
work-life balance?
No, that's all I do. I work so much that it's crazy, but like that's, I the whole time I've been building Kind Traveler, my co-founder and I, we've easily put in 12, 13-hour days on most days. And we work all of the time. It requires you to constantly be attached. But with that, you don't want to burn out. So you have to find balance. We have to invest in ourselves. And that balance is it's really important to connect with what you're passionate about. If it's volunteering, if it's traveling, like we're in a travel business. It's one of my absolute favorite things to do is to just connect with our partners, visit our charities, visit our hotels. Because then we're like doing the work and we're remembering why we've literally sacrificed a good part of our lives to invest our time, energy, and resources into building something like this. Because it has taken everything that we've had, everything and more to do it. And it has not been easy in any way.
Oh, this is, I mean, I think it's a good message, and also a message that we need to really work hard to reach our goals, no matter how beautiful the story may seem to be. But under this, there's a lot of work behind,
A
right?
lot,
So, a lot of
so
work.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for this interview. If we get any more questions from our readers and the audience, we'll let you know. So thank you so much, and we'll follow you and see where Kind Traveler is going next.
Oh, thank you so much, Anula. It's so nice to meet you, and it was so lovely to speak with you today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.